Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pack Podcast. I am Case. I'm joined with Michael and our very special guest, the lead journalist for Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, Fermin Perez. Man, how are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How you guys doing?
Doing great. So we kind of want to start off. How did you feel about the hunt after the harvest?
Oh man, for that being the last show of the year, I think we ended it with a bang. And like we did a radio interview on Sunday with Dan Cialana for the San Antonio Wrestling Showcase, and
Mm-hmm.
I said these exact words. So we ended 2021 with a bang, but 2022 is going to get even bigger and better for Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. I was very excited. Every show from beginning to end has been nothing but excitement, not just for us within the promotion, but for the fans as well. And that's one of the things that I love to do is I go to the shows and I stand back and I just sit there and I observe the fans and I study the fans and I see who's reacting to what and what the crowd's reacting to. And from beginning to end on Saturday, the fans just they were into everything, which is I'm really proud of our guys. They did a really good job last Saturday.
Absolutely. Mike, what you got?
Fermin, thank you so much for coming on. We typically kick off these interviews by asking our guest, how did you get involved with wrestling? I believe we all started as fans at some point. We'd love to hear your
Yeah,
story.
actually, I did start off in February. It'll be 10 years that I've been around in the wrestling scene, and every moment I've cherished so much, and I've loved it so much with all my heart. I have a deep love and a deep passion for professional wrestling, as of course you guys can see from my man cave behind me.
Yeah.
But I did start off as a fan. I went to a local show here in San Antonio. And I saw a flyer on my Facebook, and Rob Conway and Funaki were on the flyer, and I knew them from WWE. So found out where the show was at. I ended up going to the show, which was actually at Woodlawn. Went to the show there. Um, Ended up talking to one of the guys that I sat to the entire show. Come to find out, he was the actual owner of that company. And mind you, I never knew that there was independent wrestling. I've always thought it was WWE and that was it. I'd always wait for WWE to come through every year and go to that. So I never knew that there was other wrestling other than WWE. And once I went to that first indie show, I got hooked, and I got hooked really good. But it started off where uh, little things, helping out with flyers. Um, I got to the point where I started going to the shows early, and I would start help. I would get my foot in the door. Help. Yeah, I
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. I feel like that's how it should always be. Fans, of course, everyone knows WWE. Everyone
hmm
does. And then at some point, a lot of times people just they stray away from it, but they still love wrestling. And
hmm
that's the thing about professional wrestling is it's just like food. There's so many different flavors. It's
hmm
just this is this is your big thing, but what if this doesn't taste good to me anymore? I want to look at
hmm
other stuff. I mean, it's just amazing things, really. That's exactly what happened to us. We had kind of stopped watching WWE, and we're like, we all still love wrestling though, but we want to find something that speaks to us. And so we have went to an independent show, and we're like, oh, there's other stuff. And so now with Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, we're hooked. We do a lot of the stuff for the company. It's really fun.
hmm
It's incredible to see.
I just want to say on behalf of everyone that we appreciate everything that you guys do for Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. All your hard work, your passion, and your dedication definitely shows. So, on behalf of Rodney and Jazz and everyone at Dog Pound, we appreciate everything that you guys are doing.
Absolutely. I mean, so another question we like to ask is this is from Forrest, who couldn't be here today. Who just overall is on your Mount Rushmore for professional wrestling?
All right. Okay. So I guess I'm gonna have to pick four since Mount
Yes.
Rushmore's got four. Okay. Uh, Definitely the top because he's from San Antonio
Mm-hmm.
and I grew up idolizing him. Shawn Michaels
Okay. Popular
was
pick.
one. Yes. Stone Cold Steve Austin is another.
Okay.
Macho Man Randy Savage,
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
and Jake the Snake Roberts.
Okay, a big Jake the Snake guy. Can you tell us about
Yes.
that?
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, he used to scare the hell out of me. When I would go to the live shows as a kid, and my mom would take me, um, and you know, he's got that way of drawing you in. His whole mentality and the way he wrestles is unbelievable. And like he said, he was never a champion, but he was one of the best professional wrestlers there's ever been. And don't get me wrong, I mean, the Undertaker, you know, The Rock,
Mhm.
the Ultimate Warrior. There's so many guys that would be on my Mount Rushmore. But those are my top four that I really, as a kid growing up, and even in my teenage years when I used to watch both Nitro and Raw, and I would switch back and forth. Those guys were my all-time favorites.
I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those four. Absolutely.
Mm-mm.
Now, you may have heat. I didn't hear Rodney Mack or anything, but you know,
Hopefully, I don't get ring for it tomorrow.
yeah. I mean,
But when
I
it
will.
comes to if you want to talk to some of the toughest people, Rodney
Okay.
Mack is definitely one of the toughest men I've ever seen in professional wrestling. But definitely one of the most like with all of us at the dojo, he's kind of like a father figure. And with me, I didn't have a dad growing up, so being in wrestling and being around all these positive influences that helped me grow as a man and as a human being, Rodney is definitely one of the guys that's right there, that I can look up to. And if I have any advice that I need advice or ask anybody for anything, he's one of the guys I can go to. And same thing with Jazz. Jazz is, I mean, I don't care what anybody says. She's the most toughest woman that's ever been in professional wrestling. Um, she's tougher than Trish Stratus and Lita and
Hmm.
anybody else that's been there. Luna Vachon. Jazz to me is one of the. She's in a class all by herself.
Absolutely. Just a quick, funny Rodney Mack story. So, us with Dog Pound, we did a sign contest together.
Mhm.
We had both sponsored it, and so during the little intermission, I believe I go up to Rodney. I'm like, "Hey, Rodney, we still good to do the sign contest?" And he looks at me. He said, "Yeah, you have the money for it." And I'm not looking at. And what am I supposed to say to Rodney? I'm like, I can't. He's like, I'm messing with you. I'm like, oh my god. But
No,
just another thing. He's a fantastic guy. But he's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, you have it. I'm like, yeah, I
You better have it.
yeah. I mean, I could have found it really quick if you needed me to.
Yeah.
But it
That's
was
funny.
just fantastic. So as you know, we have the a commentator for Dog Pound Championship Wrestling in the call, Mr.
Mhm.
Michael. Have you gotten to check out the first episode on TSW Plus?
Not yet, but I have downloaded the app. Once the announcement was made on social media, I downloaded it because, I mean, it's good to go back. And one of the things that I tell our students at the dojo is film study. You go back and
Mhm.
watch your stuff. And I love, I mean, 99% of the stuff that I watch, even on TV or on my phone or anything, it's all pro wrestling. And I
Mhm.
love watching our guys and going back and of course I'm not in the ring wrestling, but I love doing film study and see what some of the guys need to work on or what they can improve on. And if they're doing something right, let them know, and they can grow from that and get better from that. So absolutely. But I do have the TSW app on my phone, and I love it. It's amazing to see all the hard work that these guys have been putting in to the product, and to see it out there for the world to see is just absolutely amazing.
And it like you said, it's amazing. Shout out to TSW having their first event December 18th. Make sure and be there. Unsettled Business, I believe, is the title of the show. Don't quote me on that. I hope I'm right. But absolutely be there. We'll be there. Fermin's hoping to be there. It'll be a fantastic show.
Mhm.
Mike, what you got?
Case, I appreciate the plug. As you mentioned, the Texas Style Wrestling Plus app. Get all of your Dog Pound Championship Wrestling information, news. Episode 1 is live on the app. Exclusive video as well. I was on the app recently and saw really a bizarre scene after the last show. Fermin, can you kind of tell our fans about what happened?
Oh my God. I was just as shocked as you guys were when I saw it. But apparently somebody's got beef with Rodney Mack and decided to jump him from behind, especially when nobody was looking. And it was unfortunate that Chuck and Russ had to see that. And they were the first ones to actually find Rodney, laid out. But definitely something's going on there that I don't know. I think Rodney's out for revenge once he finds out who attacked him. I don't know who did it, but I feel sorry for whoever was the one that laid him out.
Our show, the next show in January, I believe, is called First Blood, and I believe Rodney Mack is going to be seeking First Blood on January 29th.
For sure.
Just a chaotic scene. We got Nasty Nate in the comments saying, "My man Fermin." Can you talk about Nasty Nate and sort of his progress and what he's been able to accomplish within Dogg Pound?
Nasty Nathaniel.
Yeah, Nasty Nate is
hardcore.
He's a tough dude. He's a tough. Well, I wouldn't go that far saying hardcore.
I mean, that's what Joe Galley said.
At least not yet. He's on his way up there, but definitely he's one of the toughest guys that we have at the Dogg Pound. The match that he had with Haas last month was, my God, unbelievable. And especially with Haas, I mean, being the 60-year-old outlaw. But Nasty Nate, he does have a bad attitude. But you can see the progress and you can see the work in his performances each and every show. And I think thanks for Nasty Nate. I think he's going to do really well at Dogg Pound Championship Wrestling. I mean, you can tell at the dojo how hard he works, and you can tell he wants it. And that's what I can feel from a lot of these guys. You can tell that they want it and how bad they want it. So Nasty Nate is definitely one of my top guys at Dogg Pound Championship Wrestling.
And Nasty Nate was one of the competitors during the Battle Royal for the brand new pound for pound Dogg Pound Championship Wrestling title, which was the story of the night, where we saw Haas Holding pick up the huge victory and become the inaugural champion. You were there. You saw the action just as we did. Talk us through it. Tell us what you thought.
Man, Rumble matches are always not difficult to do, but they're exciting to see. And to see all the hard work that Haas has put into building his name and living out his dream of being a professional. God, y'all got to make me teary-eyed too, because he kind of made me cry a little bit last night when he was talking about all the struggles and everything that he went through just to get into professional wrestling. And if most of you guys don't know, he actually ran a promotion years ago. But for him to live out his childhood dream, being a pro wrestler and then actually being one of the official first champions of Dogg Pound Championship Wrestling, the pound for pound champion, it's amazing. It's heartwarming, and for me, it's an uplifting story. And I'm very proud of Haas, and he's another one of those guys that's kind of like a father figure that I can go to if I need anything. And oh man, he definitely deserves it. He deserves it. He works his butt off. I mean, he got his butt kicked in the Rumble, and early the next morning he's in the gym, hunting and grinding and doing everything that he needs to do to try to keep that title. So I think he's going to hold on to that title for a long time, and whoever does take it from him, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be in for a fight.
Absolutely. Romping and stomping, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like you said, an inspirational story. If you haven't been able to check out our episode with Haas Holding, I strongly suggest anyone to check it out, especially, hate to plug it now, but it is convenient. But so one thing that happened during the Rumble in the pit, Mr. Biggs made his in-ring debut.
Yeah, that was
about that a little bit.
That was, for me, that was kind of surprising. Of course, you guys know Mr. Biggs is the manager for Caleb Smalls.
Exactly.
He actually did pretty well in the Rumble. Of course, he didn't win the thing, but
he tried.
He held his own in that match, and it was surprising to see that him and Caleb still kind of had that unity together in the Rumble match. Because Mr. Biggs and Caleb Smalls, I mean, they go hand in hand. So it was good. It was good to see him in the Rumble match, and actually hold his own against some of those guys that were in there. Because I mean, a lot of those guys were tough, the real tough. But Mr. Biggs is another one of those guys that trains with us at the dojo, and he's another one of those guys you can tell he wants it. So very proud of him. I was very happy to see him in the Rumble. I was shocked because he's a manager, but to see him as a wrestler and get in there and do his thing was pretty cool.
Absolutely, the king of the gabagool. Anyways, So can you talk about the joys that you experienced from being the lead journalist for Dog Pound Championship Wrestling?
Oh man,
just seeing your graphic whenever it first came up, I'm like, hey, that's the guy.
Just to add to that, I believe you were one of the first announcements when Dog Pound Championship Wrestling was really unveiling who was going to be a part of the team.
Man, oh God, y'all gonna make me cry.
Hey,
I was not that I was shocked, but I was very blessed, because being around Rodney and Jazz and being around those guys, it's kind of like my safe haven. That's my happy place. If of course we all got problems in life, and things go awry, and you got to try to find that outlet that makes you happy. Well, for me, that outlet is professional wrestling. And being around Rodney and Jazz for the last couple of years, and being able to actually build a friendship with them and build a personal relationship with them, and get to know them on a personal level, is something that I definitely cherish, and I'm truly blessed. But when I saw the announcement that they made me the lead journalist, man, I cried, because it's truly an honor, definitely an honor to be around those guys and to be a part of something special. And it makes me feel special as well. So I love Rodney Mack, and I love Jazz and everybody at the dojo so much for the opportunity. And like I told them from day one, that I'll do everything and anything that I can to work hard and not let them down. So I definitely love it. Truly an honor, and definitely memories and stories that I'll have for the rest of my life. And I can actually pass those down to my son when he gets older. I can tell him all the stories about being around them.
Absolutely. And, I hate to speak for them, but for us, absolutely fantastic job, man. Hate to say we're proud, but we're proud.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. I really do.
But yes. But to that point, that didn't come overnight. You have we were talking about this before the show. You have refereeing experience, you have ring crew experience, stretching far back. Can you talk about how that sort of culminated and how that experience helped you?
Yeah. Like I was talking about earlier, I went to the local show, but I actually started to get to know some of the wrestlers. And when I found out that they were actually wrestling in other cities, just to name a few, Houston Carson, he runs Lions Pride Sports up there in College Station. Of course, some of our guys have been up there wrestling for his promotion as well. Rodney's been up there a couple times. Rudy Russo, who actually owns Galactic Professional Wrestling, which of course we've done stuff with them as well. I've gotten to know those guys on a personal level, and I don't think they realized how much I actually love professional wrestling once they got around me. But being around them and showing that passion opened so many doors and so many different opportunities for me to want to give back. And I've always said this, that Texas wrestling in general, because I've mainly done it in Texas. I've been in Texas wrestling, but Texas wrestling has given me so much in my life that it's only fair and fitting that I give my life back to Texas wrestling and back to professional wrestling. So that's why I do this, and that's my motivation and my inspiration for doing that.
Absolutely. So you had mentioned you're in your man cave, man. You just collect professional wrestling stuff. What do you got back there?
Oh man, I got a bunch of posters, autograph stuff. Pictures, video games, action figures. I kind of feel like I'm like the 40-year-old virgin, because I have a bunch of action figures that are still in boxes, but I don't want nobody to open them. Even my nieces and my nephews, when they come over and they want to play with them, and I'm like, don't touch them. Don't touch them. You can look at them, but don't touch them. Don't open it. It loses its value when you open it and take it out of the box. But I have a lot of memorabilia stuff and stuff that I collected over the years. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of the stuff. I used to have like the wrestling buddies and a lot of the action figures from the old WWF back in the early 90s. So I'm still on the hunt for that. Every now and then I go to like flea markets and anytime on the road and try to find stuff that that's not around anymore, that try to collect it. So, but yeah, I got a bunch of stuff. Of stuff.
Yeah, and what's funny is one of our hosts, Forrest, he actually got a Moonshine Mantell little statue, and it was in the package. And another one of our hosts, Jeffrey, his daughter had come over to their house, and she wanted to open it. And he said, "No, baby, don't open it. Don't open it." And she wanted to so bad. She's 3 now, but you could not tell her that she couldn't open it. He gave her like every other toy that she had. She's like, I want the one in the package.
Yeah, I think the only one I would allow to open up my packages would probably be my son, because I love my son to death, and he's another inspiration, and he's one of the main reasons why I do this, because being around, like I said, professional wrestling, and being around the guys at the dojo and Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, is so much positivity that comes out of it, and I want my son to be around that as well. So when he gets older, they're helping me, they're molding me into being a better person and a better man, and I'm able to use that to kind of mold my son and help him be a better person as he's growing up as well.
We have Supreme Dad Fermin in the house.
I do what I can, bro.
Absolutely. For the fans, just so people know, I feel like we've been spoiled in our independent wrestling kind of careers, because we've only been around fantastic people and worked in wrestling around fantastic people, and Dog Pound Championship Wrestling is the top tier, kind of like Jasmine Allure, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
Yeah.
But fantastic human beings from top to bottom. It just makes work not work, is what it is. It's just fun to be around all these people that love the same exact thing that you do. And it just makes it a pleasure. And obviously, I guess you're kind of included in that, but don't want to spoil you.
Yeah. I'm very humble.
So can you talk about,
this is a good point to mention that we are live on Facebook. We've got comments rolling in. Samantha asks if it's possible to have a Christmas Dog Pound Championship Wrestling show. I know that that's currently not on the books, but for Samantha and others, what do they have to look forward to moving forward?
Oh man, one of the things that I'm very proud of doing with Dog Pound Championship, on top of being the lead journalist, I've been going out these past couple months and been doing a lot of the community work. We just had we raised some food for the San Antonio Food Bank, and we raised close to 75 pounds worth of food for the city of San Antonio, which is really awesome. We're going to be working on something for December, not a show, but we're going to be having another drive to where we kind of help out the community, and try to get our name out there in a positive way, and to let people know how much we care about them. I mean, they've given us so much love and respect that, and everyone at Dog Pound, I know we're going to give that right back to the community. In January, we will be going to the Children's Hospital here in San Antonio to go talk to a lot of the kids. And then, I've just been out, grinding, like coach says, go out there and hunt, and go out there and grind and do what you got to do. And one of the things that I love to do is go out there and talk to the people about Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, and get our name out there in a professional and in a positive manner.
For sure. And when that goes up, Fermin, he'll always post it. Check his page, check the Pack Podcast page. Always, if you're able to donate, it'd be fantastic. Always trying to give back to the community, because that's who we have to thank for the success of Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. So like you said, they give, you give back. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I've always said without our fans, there would be no Dog Pound Championship Wrestling.
For sure. Can you talk about the Woodlawn Gym and the fans that pack the building every single show?
Man, those fans are just unbelievable. It gives me the feeling of when I first went to a show there and was just so into it, and these guys, and they love it, and we respect our fans and we love our fans very much. And to see the whole atmosphere, just being, I mean, you guys have been there the past couple months, just to be able to experience the whole atmosphere of being there live and seeing all the action live and in person. It's a whole different feeling than just watching it on TV. And that's how I felt when I first went to a show. It was like, man, I'm actually, I'm like 5 feet away from these guys, watching these guys wrestle. And now I'm actually side by side working with them. So the whole atmosphere is just it's unbelievable. And I can pretty much, to quote Midnight Special, I think it would be a Midnight Special guarantee that in January we're gonna pack the house, and it's gonna be definitely a sellout crowd.
Absolutely.
I
I
don't-
mean, Mike, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say I don't believe I could ever be caught quoting Midnight Special, but I mean we hear what you're saying.
Oh, I love that guy.
It only seems as if one person on the show doesn't, but
But to keep us on track, Samantha, thank you for your question. I see Randy in the comments as well. This is a good time to mention. We mentioned it previously. Unsettled Business is happening Saturday, December 18th in Addison, Texas. This is Texas Style Wrestling, streaming on the Texas Style Wrestling Plus network. I know Rodney Mack, Jazz, Soda Pop is on the flyer. Meet and greet 6 o'clock, bell time 7:30. I know the demand is there for wrestling in December. So that is a great opportunity that much of Dog Pound is going to be at. So are you excited for that?
Oh man, anytime you can be on the road is for me is exciting. But it makes it even more special when you can travel with your brothers and your family, especially with everyone at Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. That's my family, and to be able to travel with those guys it's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be a great trip. I always love road trips. I mean, I've like I said, I've done this for 10 years, and I love traveling the back roads. I love seeing new places. Some of these places are probably once in a lifetime places that most people never get to see. So being a part of professional wrestling and being able to do that to me is a blessing, and definitely a lot of moments that I truly cherish, and a lot of good friends and a lot of good people you meet in professional wrestling. But right now, for the past couple of years, none better than that Dog Pound Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then just
sure.
to follow up to Case's last question, can you talk about what it means to the San Antonio community at large to have a promotion in the city?
Oh man, I mean, well, there's a couple promotions within San Antonio, but with Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, we're trying to get bigger and better than all the other ones, and I know, and we will get there. Believe me, we will get there. First of all, we got the right group of people within the promotion that believe in the greater good of the promotion, and we all have the common goal, and that's Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. We all have the same passion for professional wrestling, and we all believe in each other. And to me, that's what makes us stand out than the rest, because we're more like a family, and our family is real tight knit, and we travel in packs. Of course, we got Rodney and Jazz at the head of the pack, and those guys they look out for us just as much as we look out for them, and we take care of them just as much as they take care of us. So Dog Pound Championship Wrestling is definitely the absolute best professional wrestling company in San Antonio, and I know for a fact it's definitely one of the top promotions in the entire state of Texas.
Oh, for sure. Another thing, like you had mentioned earlier, is you love going on road trips for shows. Love being on the road. I always felt like that's one of my favorite parts about going to a show was kind of carpooling and going with your friends. I mean, obviously you're all wrestling fans, so you have to jam to wrestling theme songs. I had Forrest riding with me, and I feel like I listened to DX for at least an hour of the trip.
That's funny. You guys weren't telling people to suck it, were you? You weren't doing the.
Well, had to wait. At red lights maybe, but but yeah, it's always super fun. Just absolutely. If you're in the San Antonio area, Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, like you said, January, they're gonna take December off, take the holidays off, but like we said, TSW gonna kind of fill in the void for December. So if anyone is looking for wrestling in December, want some of your Dog Pound Championship Wrestling favorites, they'll be there. But yeah,
hit the road, guys. Hit the road. You don't want to miss it.
Oh, for sure. Can you talk
about
this? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say what I found fascinating about Dog Pound Championship Wrestling is you had Dog Pound Dojo connected to it. You had a bunch of those guys that would come in and train and improve, which then could lead up to Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, really put what they learned to the test. So can you
Mhm.
talk about sort of that uniqueness of having the dojo, having the training facility, and then giving all the talent a platform to really perform?
Man, it's awesome. Because like I said, these guys work their butts off at the dojo each and every day, each and every week. They're out there, they're in the gym, they're working out. When they come to the dojo, they're working hard. Um, and like I said, I met Rodney and Jazz a couple years ago just to cover a few of the seminars that they were doing. Of course, you guys know I run and own the Texas Wrestling Review, which is a page on Facebook, but it's another one of my journalistic things that I love to do to kind of recognize the entire state of Texas wrestling. But I started working with them at the dojo officially in February, and I just started going every week, and checking these guys out. Uh, Caleb, Mr. Biggs, even Soda Pop. These guys, you can tell in the beginning that they were trying to find their way to break out of that shell, and lo and behold, those guys have definitely they've broken through. And one of the things I'm real big on is performances. I mean, you can go to a wrestling match and sit back and enjoy it, but with those guys, I'm actually there at the edge of my seat, into everything that they're doing, whether it's a high spot, whether it's a hard hit, they're high flying action. These guys have worked very, very hard, and it's good to see the students get that platform to show all the hard work that they've been putting in, and for them to have that platform inside that ring, and to show all the fans exactly what they've been doing. It's absolutely it's special for them, um, and I can't say it enough. I'm proud of each and every one of them. Very proud.
For sure. You mentioned Soda Pop, huge favorite for the show. Can you talk about his grueling match with Charlie Haas?
Oh man, I've in the last 10 years that I've been around this, I've seen Charlie Haas in some grueling matches. And I actually have a funny story about Charlie Haas. When I used to referee, I did a show up at Texoma Pro in Sherman, Texas, and it was a tag team match. And of course, I had disqualified Charlie and his partner because Charlie kicked me in the nuts, and I never forgot that. I went down for the 3 count, and my hand hit 2, and before I knew it, somebody was pulling me out of the ring, and he, kicked me as hard as he can and knocked me down. So I will never ever forget that. But I know how bad and how hard Charlie can hit. But Soda held his own in that match, and to actually see him pick up the victory was even more exciting. Because believe me, I mean, Charlie Haas he's a legend in my eyes. Definitely one of the best tag team specialists ever in the history of professional wrestling. But yeah, Charlie Haas he's a physical competitor, but Soda Pop, he held his own in that match, and to see him get the win, I was so happy for him.
For sure, tough through it, and that's kind of like you described the toughness that you need to be, or you need to have to even be in the Dog Pound Dojo.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, he displayed it that night. It was like we had said, a grueling match, and he toughed through it and gave Charlie Haas a very surprising loss. And I mean, I know we did our preview show, and all of us said Charlie, and we were all wrong. And hey, sometimes you just have to accept the fact that it's okay to be wrong. And we literally, as soon as it happened, 1, 2, 3, we all jump up and we look at each other. Me and Michael literally like we're girls and went,
what just happened?
Exactly. We covered our mouth. But that's another thing about wrestling. It makes you feel, when it goes correctly, it makes you feel emotions that like, oh, a shock. Like, oh, I was not expecting that. And obviously, like, fantastic match. Can you talk to us about the upcoming tag team championship?
Man, I cannot wait to see who is going to be crowned the Dog Pound Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Of course, we've seen a lot of tag teams in Dog Pound the past couple months. We had the OMGs. The ones that really stand out to me though, and I think they deserve it. I definitely, if they do win it, but they definitely earned it. The Misfits. I mean, those guys, they train with us at the dojo, and it's not showing favoritism because they work with us here at the dojo, but you can see their hard work and everything that they do, from their promos to the way they work in the ring to their professionalism in and out of the ring. Those guys, to me, I think would definitely be a great fit to be the first ever Dog Pound Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions.
For sure. I mean, just watch their matches. Crowd favorites, but they do need to watch out for the Haas brothers. If you've seen their matches, but hey, I mean, they may have a couple years to go before they can challenge. But if you watch their matches, can you talk about the Haas brothers matches of the past 2 months worth of shows?
Man, it's really cool to see them, especially at the Halloween show. They pretty much stole the show. Those guys were
for sure.
They were unbelievable, and to see them at a young age, to me, it's awesome because I want to see my son at that age doing the same thing. Of course, I'm no Charlie Haas, but he's surrounded by a bunch of good people that can help train him to become a professional wrestler. But to see everything that Chuck and Russ have been doing, and you can tell that they've been putting their heart and soul just as much as their dad, Charlie Haas. He puts his heart and soul into professional wrestling. You can see that instilled in both the Haas boys. And I said, I was talking to somebody at the last show, and I said, those guys right there are the future of professional wrestling. You wait and see. Those guys, they're going to be the next world's greatest tag team.
Oh, without a doubt. I believe one of our hosts, Jeffrey, had sent all of us a video. I believe they had a match in Texoma Pro, and he had sent us that match, and I watched it. And it was before the Halloween show. I'm like, oh my God, could you imagine how amazing it's going to be? And then the match had happened. I'm like, it was even better than I expected it to be.
I mean, some of the Chuck and Russ are probably tougher than some of the guys that are wrestling now.
I mean, you may have a point. but yeah, it's always fantastic. And like you said, the future professional wrestling. And your son may have to, make a trio. I mean, why not?
Yeah. Oh, maybe he could be a manager. He's going to be it's going to be through in February. So, but he's still got a lot of years to go. But
he got it.
I took him to the dojo last week, and to see him doing somersault flips in the ring, and after every drill, we have our students ready, clap 3 times. Well, the guys were outside of the ring, and my son was in there flipping and doing somersaults, and I'm recording him because for me that's a proud moment to see my son in the ring doing that.
Proud.
Yeah, and he's actually, I got him on camera saying ready, and he's clapping his hand 3 times, and I'm like, that's my son, that's my boy.
Oh man,
this is a good time to mention one win Chuck, 1 win Russ. So I want to see round 3. I want to see these guys split the tie. And hey, if Professor P needs a new client, I think he should look no further than those 2. But looking forward to January 29th. Haas Holding is our new pound for pound champion. He recently put out a video, said, hey, I'm back in the gym. I'm not going to sit around. It's the holiday season, but I've got work to do. In your eyes, who's next up? Who should step up? Who should get a shot at the pound for pound title?
Oh, man. I mean, there's a lot of our guys are working really, really hard. But if I wanted to see somebody win that title or actually have a good match with Haas, Soda Pop, that guy works hard. I mean, he works hard, and not to say that he works harder than everybody else, because everyone does their fair share of hard work, but getting to know Soda Pop over the last year or so, he's worked hard. Most of you guys know he's been a referee, of course, with the former SWE. He was a referee there. But to see him as a wrestler, you can tell that he has that passion to want to be somebody and try to get to that next level. So Soda Pop would definitely be one of the guys that I think would be a good representative of Dog Pound Championship Wrestling with that belt. But not taking anything away from Haas Holding. He's like I said, he's worked his butt off, and like he said, he's not going to take it lightly. And he's going to do everything and anything that he can to hold on to that belt. And I believe him. I believe in him.
Man, talk about a divided crowd, though. Haas and Soda Pop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to cheer for both.
Yeah, two fan favorites going against each other. That's it's kind of tough unless one of them turns heel.
It'd be hard to see either one of them. One comes at the Thriller and one's Hoss Holding, But I mean,
So, but I mean, anybody deserves that title, but they have to
Except for
prove
Midnight
themselves.
Special.
but
Oh man, you know, like what's the deal with you don't like Midnight Special?
they got
that
heat,
guy,
brother.
We got heat.
Man,
Look, this guy, Nightmare at the Woodlawn. He shows up. He spits on the Dog Pound Championship Wrestling branding. Just throws it to the ground. I just
Tell
man,
him the real
just,
reason. Tell him the
he
real
just walks
reason.
in the room, and I just want to walk out.
I'll tell you the real reason. Okay, so our very own Michael Moore is in his. What were you actually dressed as?
I was a state trooper. It was Nightmare at the Woodlawn. We had the costume contest. I had a yellow and green state trooper outfit.
He was a state trooper. He had participated in the costume contest, which we can respect. But Midnight Special sees him and he goes, Yogi Bear? And during our interview that we'd had him with him before on the show, had made a comment about his glasses. I believe it was 4 eyes was the words used. And
oh man.
But
So,
yeah, Yogi
I mean,
Bear
we are
is
the Pack podcast. We are a pack. And my guys, our podcast team, they did not back me up. I was alone on this.
You're the
They just leave me by myself. But look, I gotta call this guy out whenever he steps too far.
Oh man! Well,
I will say this: Midnight should not be mean like that to you guys.
Oh, Yogi Bear. I mean, it's
no,
not nice.
no Yogi Bear. So shame on Midnight for that. But as far as Midnight as a performer, I love watching his promos. He's very charismatic when he walks through the curtain, and his performances in the ring and the style of wrestling that he does and the way he wrestles it's really cool. It's cool to see. Maybe I won't agree with his attitude sometimes, but as a performer in the ring, he's definitely one of the best.
Oh, without a doubt. Whether Yogi Bear agrees or not. While we're
great
talking,
performer, somebody does need to remind him the rules of a Royal Rumble. I think he tried to come in and come out about 10 times and then almost hurt some of our referees trying to get back in.
Oh man, that's that Jerry the King of Lauder philosophy. You had it in the ring until the time is right.
He did. I saw him. I was like, "Oh, yo!" And he's gone. So while we're talking about one Mike, let's discuss another Mike. One man, Mike Dell. Can you talk to us a little bit about him, man?
Man, Mike Dell is one of my best friends ever in professional wrestling.
We saw the DX picture.
Yes, I've known Mike Dell for just about as long as I've been in professional wrestling, but close to 10 years. Him and his family. Mike Dell has if you're watching Mike, and I'm pretty sure you are, you got a special place right here in my heart. Mike Dell is one of the most nicest guys you will ever meet in professional wrestling. Definitely a genuine human being, a very good man. He's a good father. He's a good husband. Of course, you guys know Mike also does a little bit of acting. He's done commercials. He's done a couple movies. So he's an all-around talented guy. And inside that ring, he's definitely he's one man that you would not want to be tested with, because Mike Dell is very charismatic. He's very athletic. He's very, very great at what he does, and definitely one of my best friends. When I was at a point in my life where depression period, so to speak, a couple years ago, Mike was one of the first guys that reached out to me and helped me get back on the right track. So I got a lot of love and a lot of respect for one man, Mike Dell, and his entire family.
Oh, for sure. And fantastic to hear that. I sadly didn't get to speak to him at the show. I'm sure, hopefully we get another chance come January.
Yeah, I would love to see him back at Dog Pound.
Because, man, what a performer. We hadn't seen him before from the show, but I mean, he grabs your attention. And there's something to be said about performers that just grab your attention. And, you know, it might be because the name similarity, but Michael would not stop talking about one man, Mike Dell.
Look, we talked before we record the podcast, Fermin. I brought up your name a couple of times, and I'm glad we can do tonight. But we do brainstorm names to bring on the show. And I said, there's only one man I can think of. We need one man on the show.
And that's me.
One man, Fermin Perez. Man. I told Michael for this week, I thought, nah, we only have one mic.
Yeah. Can't have two mics. Maybe next week.
Can't have two. That's too many. Outnumbered. So before we wrap things up, is there anything you want to tell the Dog Pound Championship Wrestling fans?
And before you answer that, just to add to that, Texas Wrestling Review, talk about some of the work you're doing there and what people can look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. Today was actually the last day of voting, and this is the second year that I've done this, where all the fans all throughout Texas, I have different categories that people can vote on. Male Superstar of the Year, Female Superstar of the Year. Of course, last year Jazz won Female Superstar of the Year. Rodney had won a Tag Team of the Year. Alex Morosos won Referee of the Year. But I have different categories that fans all over Texas can vote on, and anybody that's involved in Texas wrestling, whether it's a promotion, a superstar, a referee, a manager, anybody that works in Texas wrestling or has even performed here in Texas for the year is eligible to be voted on. Definitely love doing that, and for me, it's kind of special to give back, to show my appreciation for professional wrestling and to give back to them. And I actually give out plaques and awards. Last year I did it. This year I'm doing it again. And of course I started a new category with the Texas Wrestling Legends Award and made a post about it a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. The legendary, to me, he's definitely a legend, but Tim Storm is the first recipient of the Texas Wrestling Review's Legend Award. So he definitely deserves it. And he's another one of those guys that I've become really good friends with, and another one of those guys that I look up to. So, but yeah, Texas Wrestling Review, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. So you can follow us there. And you can also follow Dog Pound Championship Wrestling on all social media as well.
Absolutely. And by the way, fantastic. We voted on a couple of them. The commentator of the year, I voted for Michael, but it doesn't seem like he may get it next year.
I need, 2022, I'm going to make a strong
That's
run.
his year.
We do this again next year. Okay, I'm going to have a case to make.
There we go. Y'all watch out next year. 22, the year of the Michael. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But anything else you want to sign off with, Fermin?
Any New Year's resolutions as we move into the new
another
year?
One.
New Year's resolutions. Just to continue to be a good person and to be a good man, and to continue to work even harder for Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, and to show those guys how much I love and appreciate them. And not just that, but and I want to thank all the fans that support us and believe in us. Because like I said, if it wasn't for our fans, there wouldn't be no Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. I said this last night at the dojo. We were all talking, and I told these guys, and I'm pretty sure it's true for a lot of them. But I really don't know where my life would be at, or where I would be in life, if I didn't have professional wrestling in my life. So I cherish every moment, and I love it. It's a deep passion that I will love to the day I die, and I hope to pass that on to my son as well. And you guys are inspiration. Everyone at the Dog Pound's inspiration for me to want to do better and get better and continue to do more. So 2022, you better believe that I will be busting my hump to get the name of Dog Pound Championship Wrestling out there.
Absolutely. And man, everybody, please check out Texas Wrestling Review. And like he had said, fantastic. He loves wrestling. I always tell people when they ask, how's the podcast thing, that we're just wrestling fans, just like everybody else. We just record it while we talk about it. Mm-hmm. And that's just the beauty of it. And like I said, we're wrestling fans, just like everyone watching. So is Fermin. And we thank you so much for being on the show. Check out Dog Pound Championship Wrestling and Texas Style Wrestling, December 18th, Unsettled Business. And this has been the Pack Podcast with Fermin, and we will see you guys next time.
January 29th, First Blood. We cannot wait Fermin, thank you so much.
I tried.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.